Hey everybody, it's MetaOutfitter here. Today we will be doing this AMA in English because we are starting to push out some features that are very exciting for the space, and we want to be able to reach out to as many audiences as possible. So, having said that, we are doing today's event in English. So, Darter has helped us gather questions from our Discord server, and today I will be answering some of the questions that you guys may have. Okay, so let's start. The first couple of questions are regarding our 3D playable avatars, which is coming out very soon, and I know you guys are all super excited about what is happening with Zoofrenz and all these features we're announcing.
Let's get started. First question from our community. What is the importance of the metaverse for Zoofrenz?
It's a very good question and very deep. So the primary goal of Zoofrenz is to build a top IP for the metaverse. Now, I know everybody has a different idea for what the metaverse is, but our vision is to build playable 3D avatars that can seamlessly travel across all Web3 applications. The concept of metaverse revolves around the same idea of interoperability, and that is one of the keywords we keep talking about when developing this IP. So imagine a future where you can have a single virtual identity that can be taken across many different metaverses. This can be a social app like Twitter, where you log in using your wallet and showing your PFP. It could be a 2D game like World Wide Web Land, where you have a 2D avatar running around in an environment, or it could be a 3D one like the other side. This is the Web3 future that we're building towards, where you have a Ape Friends 3D playable avatar. It is one single NFT sitting on the blockchain, and it serves as your identity that you can take from one place to the other. And this is the thing that Web3 is trying to achieve that we haven't been able to do in Web2 before. We have a lot of Web2 games and Web2 social platforms where you have to set up accounts and your account just stays on those platforms. And the new thing that we have with Web3 that is super exciting is now you're able to carry this identity you have created and just seamlessly travel in between all these Web3 apps in the future. So why metaverse, right? You could do it on, I've mentioned, you could do it on Twitter, you could do it on like a 2D game also, but why are we targeting metaverse? So building 2D avatars is relatively easy, and that's why we are seeing a lot more 2D applications or 2D metaverses popping, not just in NFT projects, but also in blockchain games. We're seeing a lot of pixel art looking 2D games. And when it came to developing Project 8 Friends, we chose to purposely tackle the more exciting challenge to start with. We know 2D is easy, but 3D is the real holy grail of the metaverse that everyone is talking about. So our 3D avatars are important because it solves a very critical problem of having a representing presence in the most anticipated metaverses, right? If you think about the most anticipated metaverse right now, it's the other side. And other side is full 3D. So if we are staying in the 2D lane and creating 2D animated characters, you're not going to be able to make it into the other side or any of the other metaverses that are 3D. So in this sense, your Zoofrenz 3D playable avatars will be your license to breathe life into your Web3 identity in the metaverses of the future. And that's why we think it's important for us to focus on building a metaverse IP.
So, we are building 3D avatars, but what makes ours better than other projects on the market?
In the VC space, when you're fundraising, the venture capitalists, they like to ask you, what is your unfair advantage? They want to know, what do you have? What's your secret sauce that nobody else has, that nobody else can compete with you with? And we could boil down our Zombot secret sauce into 3 different things. The first thing we have is quality. And this is the one key thing we have been hammering in our community, is that we have this unique positioning of being one of the only teams in the NFT space with AAA game production experience. Our team has worked on top games like League of Legends, we have worked on Supercell games, we have worked on Destiny, Tom Clancy, so a lot of different games in different styles. So our team is very well versed in helping the best game companies in the world producing content for them. So having said that, with Zoofrenz, we want to establish a standard for creating these premium metaverse ready 3D models. So we want to call this standard the 3D playable avatar. So producing these 3D playable avatars is a very significant investment in both time and money, which is why we have only seen a handful of projects that are truly metaverse ready now. And by metaverse ready, we're talking about having a 3D character that can run around in a environment like the other side. So even for the other side, we haven't seen a whole lot of Bored Apes or even Kodas. We've seen maybe like one Bored Ape. We've seen one Koda character from the previous showcases. And yeah, the reason for that is actually quite easy. It is very expensive. It is very time consuming to produce these assets. And for a team even as big and as prolific as Yuga Labs, they are great at creating this cool IP that everybody loves, but it does take experience and hard skills to do these 3D avatars, to create these 3D models, right? And we are fortunately to be in this position where we are one of the only teams that can do this. We are building for the future. We are building for that quality that we think the metaverse will be in not just the next year, but the coming 5 to 10 years. We're aiming high. We're trying to set the standard and help other people in the community to get there as well. So the next thing is interoperability. I mentioned this before. The interoperability is something that comes with us setting this 3D playable avatar standard. So one of the key advantage of 3D playable avatars is that it is delivered in a universal format called VRM. Now this format is also being used with Meebits, and that's why we're seeing a lot of Meebits use cases in all these different metaverses, different apps. It is because of this VRM format. So the VRM is used in many metaverses and will be the key to allowing you true interoperability, going from metaverse to metaverse, going from one app to another. This idea of interoperability can only happen if you have this 3D file in a format that is being recognized by all these different apps. So right now, there's a format called VRM, which is what we're using now. There's also another format called GLTF, which is a format that works in a very similar way to VRM. So these two formats are the most promising, and we will very likely adopt both these formats moving forward. But VRM will be provided first to you guys, which will allow you to have interoperability between different Web3 applications. The third thing that gives us an unfair advantage is the likability of the 8 friends. So a lot of PFPs and NFT projects, they built on this very bro-esque meme culture, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because a large part of what makes things go viral on the internet is the memes and this very specific culture that people are playing with in the NFT space. I do think that we are trying to make a product that will have sustainability and have mainstream appeal moving forward. So that's where Zoofrenz and the 8 Friends characters specifically differentiate from peers in the space. The 8 Friends are super cute. They're designed to have very universal appeal. We're not targeting a specific sector or specific niche audience. We're trying to make sure that when the day comes that NFTs and these different Web3 projects starts to gain momentum in the mass consumer space, we do have that likability for people to look at and say, oh, this is something I could totally relate to, versus if we're focusing on something that is completely degen and completely NFT. That might be cool for now, but who knows? 90% of the people in this world are not really going to understand the concept of paper hands and diamond hands. I mean, that is something that we have to consider as a project that we want to grow and has ability to scale to a really wide range of audience.
What are the applications of 3D avatars?
So thanks to the VRM format, there is a growing list of metaverses that we are already compatible with, and more integrations will be added as they become available. We think VRM or GLTF files will have a high chance of wide adoption in the next 2 years as the metaverse space become more mature. And there's also this app that we are building internally. I mentioned this briefly before, that we are building our own social metaverse platform, which will have a lot of cutting edge features that allows you to truly utilize your playable 3D avatars. And in addition to this, when you have your VRM file, you basically have a 3D file that you could do anything you want. So if you're a creator, you could turn it into a VTuber 3D model. You could also, if you want to create your 3D animation, you could take those 3D files and create your animation with it, turn it into a friend's boy band if you want, or a girl group if you want as well. Yeah, the possibilities are endless, but we don't want to focus just on creators because we know the creators are still a minority group in terms of our community. So we want to have these prepackaged, ready-made experiences for you to enjoy when the 3D characters come out.
What is the current progress of my 3D playable avatars?
The 3D art is already done, and we're working on finalizing the file. So you guys will be able to see this very soon this month.
When can we download our 3D files?
You will be able to access your 3D avatars through our social metaverse app first. So you will be able to log in with your wallet and play around with the 3D files and see it in a really awesome environment and lighting and enjoy the character. In addition, we're also building a different app that allows you to separately download your VRM files as well. So if you're a creator, you can go and download these files and use them however you please. The launch time for that separate app that allows you to download the files will be announced at a later time.
Can non-first class pass holders also get 3D PFP renders?
We are currently evaluating the timeline to making this happen. The 100 plus 3D PFP renders we generated took a little bit longer than we thought to produce. So it is not a matter of whether or not we can do it. We can definitely do it. It's just a bandwidth issue because our team is currently very much focused on building the social metaverse platform as well as getting the 3D models to be able to download for you guys. So we will be taking care of those things first before we start offering you the 3D PFP renders. Okay, next question.
Do we have plans for the Ape Friends 3D models to have their eyes and mouth animated?
Unfortunately, there is no plan for this right now, but our future animals, the other animals that we will release in the future, they will have facial rigs. So their faces and mouth will animate. For Ape Friends, it's a little bit more difficult because we didn't plan on having this happen before. Now, if we were to build it, we would basically need to redo the entire rig to make it happen. So it is a more lengthy process. Okay, so this next question, somebody's asking,
do you think the value of the Astronaut and Ninja full sets is not as special now that you've provided the VRM of a different color version for everyone to download?
If we're going to provide any further differentiating points for holders of these two full set PFPs. So I don't necessarily agree with the sentiment that sharing the Ninja and Astronaut 3D VRMs will take away from the value of holding those full set PFPs. And personally, as a collector, if I bought a PFP that is really cool and I love it, I actually want as many people as possible to be aware of my collection. If you say you buy Bored Ape, right? With a very specific Bored Ape, you actually want everybody to know that Bored Ape is yours. And that is why we're seeing they being used in all these different applications, right? We're seeing them being used as a burger shop. We're seeing them on like chocolate bar packaging and stuff. You want to spread this PFP as wide as possible. So I don't think that by giving people access to the likeliness of your PFP, it's going to devalue. If anything, I see it as we are helping you market this PFP you have to as many people as possible. So just imagine we are now sharing this VRM in Substrata VR. So you are actually seeing a lot of people download these files and decorating their Substrata space with the Ape Friends. If somebody, their first viewing of the Zoofrenz collection is the Ninja and the Astronaut character, and that's what they associate with this collection, wouldn't that make you as the person holding these two specific PFPs, wouldn't that make your PFP much more valuable? That's what the last thing you want is to own a Ape Friends PFP that is super rare, but nobody has seen it, right? Nobody knows about it. That would definitely be much worse. Okay, so next, he's asking, which metaverses are we working with right now? So there are ongoing discussions happening for other metaverses. We are in talks to integrate the Zoofrenz IP into a couple different ones. However, we are focusing our efforts on building out our own social metaverse app right now. So I'll go into the reason for that later, but we do think that this will give us the most bang for the buck in terms of getting the Zoofrenz IP out there. That's why our team is focused on just building our own experience at the moment. But yes, we are trying to integrate into as many metaverses that is capable of showcasing Zoofrenz, Ape Friends, a 3D playable avatar right now. The next question is,
when are we confirming getting into the other side?
So the short answer is that we are not sure. We have bought a land that is very close to the center of the other side metaverse. Yuga Labs hasn't really revealed a whole bunch of details to developers regarding building on top of that. We are in touch with people from the Yuga team, and the detail around this will be released as soon as they become available from Yuga. That's all I can say for now. And that is also one of the other reasons why we decided to build our own social metaverse experience, because we don't want to put ourselves at the mercy of other platforms. If we have to continue waiting for other side to release this information, then we're just sitting ducks if we're not building our own app. Okay, so on to the social platform that I keep talking about. And we have actually, in a previous AMA with our first class pass holders, we have revealed a little bit about the social platform. So there are people asking questions. It is going to be a experience that allows you to use your Ape Friends character to interact with your friends. And somebody here is asking,
Metaverse, is it something that requires a download? And if it is, would it work like a game?
Yes, the pre-alpha release will require you to download a desktop app on your PC or Mac. In that sense, yes, it acts like a game where you have to download to use it. But later on, we will expand to other platforms on later releases as well. And the desktop app, the reason why we're going with the desktop app for this pre-alpha release is because it allows us to quickly roll out development features while we are building. We're in building mode right now. And it aligns with the strategies of most blockchain games and metaverses that we are looking at right now. So the only metaverse that we can see right now that doesn't require any download is the other side. However, I will say from my experience that other side works very similarly to Stadia, or for those of you guys that have a PlayStation, PS Now, or formerly known as the OnLive technology. So these are streaming game techs that the other side Metaverse is using. The good thing for that tech is that you don't have to download anything. You can just very quickly log in and it loads almost instantaneously. The downside on the user's perspective is it requires very, very crazy bandwidth for you to play this game. If you guys tried out the other side or Stadia, the bandwidth it uses is very intense. It uses tens of gigabytes of bandwidth per hour that you're playing, right? So that's one thing. If you don't have a really good ping or really good connection with very high bandwidth and speed, you're not going to get the full experience. I don't think the Yuga guys are very concerned about that, because if you can afford a $10,000 NFT, you probably have pretty good internet. You don't have a problem affording it. But as you start expanding to people outside of the Yuga ecosystem, which eventually they will want to, that is going to be a problem, right? If you don't have good internet, then you're not going to get a good experience. And how are you going to reach critical mass if that's the case? And that's why Stadia never really hit critical mass, because of the internet connectivity requirement. That's just from the user side. From the developer side, most people are not doing this because it costs a crazy amount of money and resources to maintain this technology. The game looks great. I tried it and it has great graphics. So having great graphics means you need a good GPU. That is not always the case for cloud servers, right? If you're looking at a cloud server infrastructure, if every instance requires you to put in a GPU, that means your server upkeep and server costs to maintain, to buy, is going to be really, really expensive. You need a GPU in every server, and this GPU needs to be awesome so it can host as many players as possible on one server. And all this add up to a crazy amount of fees when they have the server up and running and they want thousands of people in it. It's just, I don't really see, personally, I don't really see a company like us in our scale to be able to sustain something like this. If anything, Yuga Labs will probably be the only company in this space that has the resources to pull this off. But I am very curious. I'm rooting for them to pull it off. For us, we are opting for a more traditional approach. We're going to make this a downloadable app. And if you have a decent computer, it's going to run great. We're going to make it into a mobile app as well later on. So everybody has a phone. We have a lot of experience building mobile apps. So we'll make sure it runs great on mobile as well. And that will cover most people and give us the biggest chance to make this a mass consumer product. Okay, so next question.
If only people in the Zoofrenz community are using it, would we not be able to get our names out there?
So I don't actually think this is the case as well, because the app is built with social at its core. So when we're talking about social, it's not just people in our community socializing with each other. We actually want everybody in the space to be able to socialize with each other. So it's not just going to be Zoofrenz. It's not just going to be A-Friends. We're going to be very inclusive, and we are targeting everybody, including Board Ape Yacht Club, including Doodles, all the blue chips, all the non-blue chips, everybody, you name it. Yeah, that's the ambition we have with this app. Okay, so next question.
When is it going to be ready?
We are going to be running our first Metaverse Town Hall with the pre-alpha release this month. So it is very soon. We're already internally testing this app, and when it's ready, we will make the detailed announcements to you guys.
Are 8 friends the only ones that will generate friendship tokens?
Yes, friendship tokens. We haven't talked about this for a while. That is the plan right now. Yes, the 8 friends are the only ones with the ability to generate friendship tokens, and that is the way we intend to keep it. We will, however, make some improvements to the friendship tokenomics once the app releases.
What are the utilities of friendship tokens? Can you use it to buy other animals? I'd have already accumulated a lot of coins.
Yeah, we have been planning on the usage of friendship tokens for quite a while. We wanted to make sure that there are places for you to use your tokens. That's why we're building this social platform app, because we think with our own app, that's where we can really give you a lot of different scenarios for you to use your token. So I know that a lot of you guys have accumulated a bunch of tokens already, and that's why we're going to have a lot of places for you to use the tokens in our ecosystem, the Zoofrenz ecosystem. Yes, I don't have details for that today, but we are planning on having the tokens be spendable.
Do you have plans for an official Zoofrenz 3D physical collectibles? I really would like to have this.
Yeah, we've actually done a fair bit of exploration on this internally. We've reached out to factories to inquire about doing this, and the cost is just not very reasonable for a small scale production. Now, when I say small scale, I'm still talking about hundreds. Usually when you do this 3D figures, if you're talking about vinyl, to make a vinyl toy, you need to create an injection mold. The mold is what's very expensive. If you create a mold, you are probably looking at minimum, they're called MOQ, minimum order quantity. Minimum order quantity is usually in the thousands. We're talking about 2,000 to 3,000 for a mold. So it's just not very sustainable for us at this point. I would love to come back and explore this when we're at a later stage in this IP. Okay, next question.
Can you reveal more about how you plan to promote the Zoofrenz IP moving forward?
Yeah, this question is very interesting. The NFT space puts a lot of emphasis on new product launches, right? And we're still seeing that now, even though the market is very bare. And internally, we've been thinking about, hey, we do have a lot of things that we planned out for the Zoofrenz ecosystem, but how can we announce it and launch it in a way that is more impactful for not just people in our community, but new people externally looking into our project, our collection. We don't want people to think that the incentives are always only aligned with people that hold Ape Friends. If that's the case, then it will be very difficult for us to scale. Right now, we still have thousands of holders for the Zoofrenz NFTs, but if we're talking about building an IP that has mass appeal, that is one day going to be a household name, we're still very far away from it, and we're not going to get there with our existing holders. So, having said that, the plan moving forward for us is to create a Zoofrenz ecosystem by introducing new product lineups without letting these new products become derivatives of the original Ape Friends. By derivatives, I mean we don't want to launch products and have it like too tied to the Ape Friends. We want to give the Ape Friends holders benefits and incentives through friendship utility, but we also want other people, newcomers, to have a chance of not just profiting, but becoming a part of our community and feeling like they're not losing out by being in here later than the Ape Friends holders. Also, through the app platform and our next animal releasing, we will be able to tap into a wider audience in our community. And that goes into how we're going to be marketing the social Metaverse platform and the new animals. We don't have details around that yet, but that's our general philosophy when we're approaching the design and launching and marketing of these new products. We want the Zoofrenz IP to have a very long tail lifespan. So yeah, in order for us to do that, we just have to continue to create, continue to build, and let as many people as possible know what we're doing here. Okay, that is quite a bit of information. I hope you guys all are doing very well, and thank you very much for the ongoing support. We are seeing a little bit of warming in the NFT market compared to a month ago. So I hope this is going to continue. We still have some ways to go before we can get back into a full bull market. Nobody knows when that's going to be, but I'm not too worried because for us, we do have a solid plan to move forward. We're building some very exciting products that's going to be highly competitive on the market with unique offerings that only our team can bring to the space. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys on our next event, which is going to be our first viewing of the social metaverse platform. We don't have a name for that yet, but yeah, we will be announcing the name for that very soon as well. Okay, thanks to all you guys for jumping and listening to me ramble for a little bit. And I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Bye-bye.